All right. So we'll be doing indices and standard form today. Now, what is indices and standard form? Under it, we'll first be studying our laws of indices and then studying further about how to implement them and how to solve questions regarding them and what is standard form and how to convert our normal digits or decimals into standard. Now, what are the laws of indices? Laws of indices are these certain laws that we use to solve our exponential. Now, the first thing that we will be questions regarding our indices or exponentials about how to multiply them, how to divide them, how to add or subtract them. Now, what happens in indices is, for example, we've got 5 raised to the power 3. We know we can be writing that as 5 into 5 into 5, which means 5 multiplies by itself 3 times. Now, for example, you've got 3 raised to the power 2. So we know that our 3 is being multiplied twice. Now, if we've got, for example, 4 raised to the power 1, in this case, we'll only be multiplying 4 twice, which means the answer will only be 4. Now, what happens in laws of indices is, the first law of index states that our if our base is the same, which means, for example, you've got two A's and they're being multiplied, then the powers that they're holding would be added. So this would become A m plus n. Now, for example, what happens here is, if you've got, for example, 2 squared into 2 raised to the power 4, the answer would be 2 plus 4, which would give you 2 raised to the power 6. Now, the second law states that if the bases are same and they're being divided, then the powers that they're holding would be subtracted. So in this case, for example, you've got 2 raised to the power 6 divided by 2 raised to the power 2. Your answer would be 2 raised to the power 6 minus 2, which would give you 2, 4. And the third law of index states that if you have a base that has two exponents which are being multiplied in brackets, so they'll be multiplied in, they'll be simply multiplied. So a raised to the power mn would be give you amn. Now, for example, you've got 2 raised to the power, let's say 4 multiplied with 2. So 2 into 2 raised to the power 4 into 8 would give you 2 raised to the power 8, which you can simply write that as whatever 2 raised to the power 8 is. These were the three basic laws. Now let's move to the fourth law. So the fourth law of index states that whenever you have anything raised to the power 0, your answer would always be 1. Now, even if you have 2 raised to the power 0, your answer would be 1. Or your answer, the question says that write 5 raised to the power 0, your answer would always be 1. And the fifth law of index states that if you have a negative power in your exponent, it can be made positive by bringing it down, which means that this would become 1 over a raised to the power m. And when we're solving given questions, for example, you've got 2 raised to the power minus 2, that would come down and become 2 raised to the power 2, which can be solved as 1 over 4. So this is how you're going to be implementing laws of indices. Now, the next thing that how you're going to be using them in questions is that you'll be finding different equations, exponential equations, solving exponential equations that involve your indices and that involve all the rules of your indices. Now, what I mean by that is by your exponential equation that, for example, now if you've got an equation that says find x if 2 raised to the power x is equals to 32. Now you have to find x if your 2 raised to the power x is equal to 32. So we know that by your calculator or by your multiplication, you can find out how many 2's can be multiplied to get 32. So in this case, we know that 2 times multiplying 2 5 times would give you 32, and multiplying 2 5 times means 2 raised to the power 5. So 2 raised to the power 5 gives you 32. And now since your bases are same, we can say your x is equals to 5. All right?
Okay.
Okay. Let's do another question. Now, if you have to find x if your 3 raised to the power m minus 1 is equals to 81. Now you have 3 m minus 1, and I know that I can multiply 3 4 times to get 81, because 3 into 3 is 9 and 3 into 3 is 9, and you multiply 9 into 9 and you get 81. So 3 raised to the power 4 gives me 81. Now since my bases are the same, I can equate my powers and I get m minus 1 is equals to 4. Therefore, 1 would be added to the other side, and this would become 4 plus 1 is equals to 5. Now this is how you're going to be involving your indices in your question answers, in your